Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Commerce Rewired podcast. We're on episode 27, and we have a very special guest joining us for number 27. We have Lena Moriarty from CommerceNext, Marketing Director at CommerceNext. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Edel and Kid and Ace. We got Tara, we got Chris, we got Dave, and myself, Johnny. Lena, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here with my favorite crew up north. So thanks for having me.
How are you? Yeah, how are you and where are you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually reporting live from my new place in Raleigh, North Carolina now. I know. I'm in North Carolina. I don't know if I actually told you guys that. I just moved about a month ago. So
we did not. And this is funny because Chris is a Montreal Canadiens fan. I'm in Montreal, but I'm not a Canadiens fan. And they are playing the Carolina Hurricanes, who
tonight.
don't play for that's tonight. So this is all coming. This is giving me good vibes that Carolina is going to get a win tonight. So thank you for joining us, Lena.
Do you know some Carolina tickets for the 200 level are going for $200?
Oh my God!
In the third round of the playoff, like I want to move there tonight.
Yeah, hey, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. I gotta take a look at those tickets, but no, I'm actually I have plans to go to a bar and watch that game. So. Maybe I'll have to root for both sides. We'll see. Depends how today's podcast goes, I guess.
Great. So, hey, a question for you. With CommerceNext coming up in just a few weeks, and you've got so many Canadians coming to that, and like just a great crowd as usual, I'm sure. What's the one thing that anyone listening today should be like super pumped if they haven't made that final decision to go to CommerceNext? What's that one thing that you're like, they're going to love this?
There is so many great things that are on the agenda, but I think that one of the things that I'm most excited for is we actually have a professor of AI, Kartik, and he works at the Wharton School of Business, and I'm going to butcher his last name. I know it. Let me pull it up. But he is actually going in and giving kind of an expose on, where is the future of AI and what exactly are we going to be doing with it? Not just in terms of talking about it, but more in the use case scenario, because I think that that is such a big hot topic, especially for me, because what I find so interesting, and I find that this group definitely relates, is that it's fun to explore the topics that we're actually working in and using every day. We're all users of AI, right? But how exactly are we using AI? So I'm really excited. And that's Kartik Hosanagar. And I'm really excited to hear from him about breaking down, from a professional level, what is working within the AI landscape and how human elements can kind of get into that and break it down even further.
And it's professionally, I use AI in one way. Personally, I use AI in another way. And I'm loving hearing from the academics out there, just how it is influencing our lives in our day-to-day living outside, because we all hypothesize how we're going to use it in retail. And many retailers are using it, but actually using it in our personal lives, it's fascinating how it's going to kind of redefine how people live.
I know. Are you guys using this executive assistant with Claude, all of these skills that are happening? I'm very into cooking right now. And I'm excited to hear more about those kind of specific use cases and talk to other retailers about how they're saving, people are reporting saving up to 10 hours, 15 hours a week by using an executive assistant AI agent to just help compile the amount of noise that we're all dealing with on a day-to-day, right? And how can we use AI to cut through that noise, but also keep in mind that human element? Because, right, that je ne sais quoi, that human little touch, that cherry on top, AI can't do that yet, right? But what it can do is save us so much time. And that's a lot of what I'm interested in personally, as well as professionally, right, Tara? Because I need to know how to make my travel itineraries better as well, of course.
I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend the graduation. I think it was University of Arizona, where they used AI to run through all the graduates, but they skipped people. So they kind of had to reverse course, apologize, get people who weren't named yet to stand up. And then they said, you're not coming to the stage. You can come after for pictures. So then they booed. And then an hour later, they reversed course and had them come to the stage. And this is a university. So back to that point of the human element, right?
I know. When I did it, they had us write down our name in pronunciation style, hand it to someone, and then announce it. There was but no, I can't imagine. Exactly. And I think that, on a more personal level too, you see so much conversation happening within the AI landscape of the big four, I like to call them, right? Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini. Like those are my
Mhm.
big four at least that are on my radar all the time. But when you see them all hopping to one another and moving companies and such, that's also interesting, right? And I always like to think like what do other retailers and tech professionals like to use for their specific tasks and why? Because there's also like, reasoning behind why all these people are moving around. Where's our data
Mhm.
safe and where is it not? So it's very interesting conversation.
There's a litany of ethical issues that come along with it for sure. And I don't know that business has it all figured out, but what are you seeing on the business side, Lena? So we talk a lot about consumer focused products, but from an enterprise perspective, like, is the Claude Teams getting adopted? Are there any interesting things that you're seeing in the industry?
Yeah, I think that what I'm seeing a lot of is upskilling and how to
Mhm.
get your teams to fully embrace the AI of it all, right? Because I think that there is a lot of fear mongering when it comes to, is this coming for my job? Is this something that could possibly hurt me? But it really is about how do we take this technology and upskill our current like workforce
Yeah.
to be the best that we can and to optimize our time, right? Because we're all feeling like there's not enough hours in the day. I know that we're constantly feeling that crunch, right? And we also want to spend time doing things that we all love our jobs, but like we also want to have leisure activities outside. So where can AI really come in and help us save time so we can enjoy life a little bit more, and refocus some. So I think that like upskilling and how to get teams to embrace it in a way that's not scary is a big conversation point.
Mhm.
And also moving from the hypothetical to the actual use cases is what I'm seeing a lot of now. Technology platforms come out and say, okay, we can save you X amount of time by doing X, Y, and Z. Because we do it faster and we do it with Coca-Cola, we do it with Colgate Palmolive, like we do it with all of these big names because it's saving them time and that's why they're embracing our tech. So you're seeing a lot of that social proof in the technology realm as well, where we're having actual percentages saved and use cases highlighted.
Technology is not the barrier today. It's the resistance to adopt that technology that is going to be
Mhm.
the problem for the large.
Completely.
You know that feeling when you go on vacation and you dread coming back and you're like, I get back to work, I missed 5 days, so now I got 5 days of work on top of what's urgent today. Well, I went to e-tail. We all had a great time there. Then I had my new house I moved into, and I used AI to catch me up. And it went through
Mhm.
all of my emails. It prioritized everything for me. It even drafted notes for me. That 5 days of missing work and coming back was nowhere near as overwhelming as it used to be. So that's where I think instead of fearing that it might take your job, it's wow, all of a sudden that first Monday back to work was so much lighter than it was like, hey, I have 300 emails to catch up to. I got to get through these. I got to make sure I have the sundown rule and I'm back answering people within 24 hours. I now had to just proof and make sure the messaging was correct and the tone was correct. So it was like a real use case that I found coming back this time and being able to leverage AI versus that hypothetical or waiting for a corporation to integrate everything. It was just that one nugget was so useful to me this time.
Exactly. And it's like how can we resource share, right? Because I think that like with it, I found that executive assistant kind of like how you were describing that time hacker
Right.
where I found that on Reddit, on a Reddit thread. Shout out Reddit.
Mhm. Mhm.
But, like, with that, I think that taking that almost something like a community in Reddit, pushing it in real life, having all of us gather and say, "Okay, here is how my executive assistant on Claude is working. Here is what I'm doing to making it save me time. This is where I keep running into a problem with my Python script. Has anyone seen this before?" Because that is a problem I'm having. I keep running into a problem. I don't know Python like that, you know? So I think that just having that ability to break down those barriers in real life, talk to one another, is what I'm really looking forward to as well, and to see this crew in person, right? Hopefully. So
So, Lena, for those that may not be familiar with CommerceNext, how does it differ to some of the other conferences around?
yeah, CommerceNext is really a unique approach. It's in the heart of retail. It's in New York City, right? And I think that like something about being among where the best in retail are, where it's like you have, you know, Skims opening up right there on Fifth Avenue. You have the Fleet store that is always getting referenced where it customizes your shoes. You have these amazing like stores all on Soho, and being able to explore the heart of retail while also getting able to connect with the community, I think is so valuable and important. And something that I also really find very valuable within the CommerceNext atmosphere is just the content oriented approach. I think that like it's 2 days packed with content from start to finish. And with that, you could really kind of mix and match your program to whatever appeals to you. But not just that, but also like within the networking landscape, right? Because not everyone wants content all day, all the time, but they also want to break it up and go within the networking landscape. So I think that that is really, just kind of fun attributes to Commerce Next. And I'm excited to go and see everything and be a part of the mix.
I love that. I'll tell you a story. My first time going to Commerce Next, I had the opportunity to go and meet with the folks at diapers.com. They were over in New Jersey, and mobile, this is how long ago it is, I'm dating myself, is mobile was really just coming out, and the usability of mobile and usability of QR codes. And I was sitting in the office of diapers.com, and they came back and they were all excited about launching their mobile app, but the usability was just rubbish. And
Mm.
the president there at the time told people, like, just let's stop this meeting, get out on the streets and actually use your phones in the wild. And the whole team had to go outside, go into New York City. Imagine scanning a QR code on a billboard in New York City with 500 people passing by you at the same time. Like, the usability back then was just, you had to download an app. It was just garbage, but it was from events like this, because we were all end up going to the Commerce Next event, that I was able to get that type of experience and to think differently, because it was like, yeah, it's not just about building a process and an app and all this usability in the home office, but how does it come to life for customers? And I think that was a really good learning moment. And it comes from us going to conferences. We talk about it with e-tail all the time. Companies are cutting back on their budgets and not sending people to these conferences. They don't understand these little micro moments that add up to developing your team. What do you see from organizations with investments and those conversations as you try to build an event?
Yeah, I think that, as you're trying to go and build your event roadmap for the year, right? Because it is a roadmap. I think that that's also so important. You can't just go to one, you can't just go to two. You have to have a roadmap of touch points where you're following up in person, showing face, because that is so important in today's day and age. And I think that when you're talking to these technology providers, who I'm a big fan of, Julius Solaris, who is event event kind of connoisseur and talks about it. But with it, companies that are seeing the biggest ROI in their budgets are companies that are investing in conferences, and not just a couple of, like, not just one conference, but conferences, plural, throughout the year, because that face to face is so precious. And there is nothing that moves the line of business like meeting with someone in real life. And there's a reason that, we flesh these things out to make sure that you have time to go meet with your partners, to have time to connect one on one. I think that that's a big precious landscape too, is like you have these one-to-one meetings that are so curated based on the technology that the retailers are vetting, right? So they're going in and they're saying, okay, you're looking for X, Y, and Z. We have X, Y, and Z technology that I think would be a great meeting for you. So with it, you don't have to spend these annoying kind of 30-minute meetings just constantly tech shopping. How much time does that take up, right? And I know that their account executives don't always like to be on those meetings. Like, that wastes time too. So why not just send a team to an event where you can meet these, director level and above, these decision makers, and be able to really show them the value of your product in real life. And I think that like that is ultimately what's moving the dial with some of these technology innovators, because they're going to an event and then they're seeing a deal close within 6 months. When you're selling $100,000 contract for some technology within 6 months, like that's a big moneymaker for your investment. So I think that like taking a step back and seeing the value of that face-to-face connection has been such a sweet spot with convincing a lot of technology innovators to make that decision and to again map out conferences within their roadmap, because it is so important to keep the connections going.
I think you're hitting on it. It's the networking part that we all thrive on and we all love. And I think that for so many conferences, They've always had the poor service providers and vendors stuck in one section and then all of the content in another section. I think what you're building is facilitating the network and the conversation. And that's what we all
Yeah.
miss.
Exactly. And this group knows especially well. It's like we don't want to be pariahs in the industry where it's like technology innovators on one side, retailers on the other, like, the boys and girls at the dance, who's gonna go in the middle first type of thing. No one likes that kind of environment. So when you break down these silos and when you say like this is a communal conversation that we can have as a group, I think that is invaluable, especially to sponsors. And like that's where you see these great dinners that CommerceNext hosts too, where you really get a lot. And also our great team over here at Commerce Rewired, like you see these industry executive nights where you get these groups of people in a room really unfiltered. And that is the biggest takeaways of all, right? So
Do you have
Yeah.
some pro tips for marketing events, Lena? Like it's such a curiosity for me because you got to have balance of all these things. I need sponsors, I need attendees. Maybe I've got a trade show floor. Where do you
yeah,
find
well,
this? Like are there channels that you focus on these days, or maybe you can share some pro
luckily
tips?
that's my specialty, but
We can't
I
copy
think
you.
that, yes, exactly. I think that event marketing is so fun, especially with the industry that we're in, because you really do learn from the channels from the best retailers. Because ultimately, some consumer principles, especially as you get to know your customer more, they do lie the same. So I think that like where I am really loving is looking for technology that advances and enhances some of those stereotypical channels. So right now, like I'm actually loving this technology called Warmly. They're great. They're a chatbot technology and they have an add-on called Salesflow that I'm very into if we're talking tech. We just also invested in Slate digital content and video platform, which I think is just ways to take the typical marketing channels like video. And that's also part of Tower why I launched Be Smarter or something, right? My newsletter.
Love it.
And it's really because there needs to be a way to break down these silos of taking like the big long form content and making it bite sizable, making it snackable, making it something that people don't lose their attention on because I'm finding that attention spans are so short. Are so short. Like I love LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is really having problems getting their together, right? Like, come on,
Yeah.
we all know it. 5,000 impressions one week, 200 the next. It's like you must suffer this week, you must pay for last week. It's just all over the place, right? So how can we better enhance LinkedIn, utilizing all the sales navigator tools, connecting them with the best tech. So I feel like with my event marketing brain, I'm always trying to look. It's easy to follow the formula, and it's hard to be outside of the grain and to be the first people to do the thing that everyone else follows. And my goal with an event marketing is to be the person that does the thing first before the other people so that they all start copying. No, so because as we all know, that's how it goes. So
Lena, on that note, say we start from scratch. What are the top 5 most important things for an event? Is it location first, then sponsors, then brand? Like, what is that order of things on a top 5 to set up an event or a
it's like
trade
what
show?
comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I really have found that, the crux our industry is this retail community. And if you can really get the retail community to buy into what you're doing and the content that you're putting out there, then the rest will flow in, right? And if you can build up this trustworthy landscape with your retailers where you're really providing them a vessel that not only delivers value, but is fun, is interactive, puts a smile on their faces, I think that surprise and delight goes so underspoken within the event landscape because it's easy to do a boring conference or a boring event, right? And it's hard to do one that's outside of the box that really gets people going, gets people talking. So I think that with that, if you can get those retailers really bought in, then the sponsors and the technology providers will come because they'll trust this community that you're building and they'll buy into that community. And I find again and again that environment within an event landscape comes where you're having broken down conversations and not trying to sell one another on items, right? Where we're saying, we're doing X, Y, and Z. How are you using X, Y, and Z? Well, my technology does X, Y, and Z. And like that happens to match like a puzzle piece into it, right? And how can you best amplify the puzzle? So I think that those kind of things within that are important, but also just casting this wide awareness net. I love an awareness net, right? And I think that there's a lot of companies that do that really well. A lot of DTC companies do that particularly well. And you'll see that their awareness net going very wide, as well as those that are utilizing, I think that what will be a differentiator in 2027 and beyond are those that are using organic PR placement to end up ahead within AI platforms and as well. And that also continues and trickles into the LinkedIn landscape, right? Because LinkedIn just changed their systems to now be AI crawled. So everything on LinkedIn is being crawled by AI at all times so that it shows up on these LLM search engines, right? So I think that like having that combination of where are we winning with organic PR, where are we getting those placements, where are we setting ourselves up for success, as well as combining that with the triangulation of paid to make like kind of a perfect little,
I actually
get-go.
think you'll get
So
more impressions from your content outside of LinkedIn, posted on LinkedIn, but the LLMs will actually give you more impressions than LinkedIn's algorithm. Because like you said, you go from one week being top of the world, 5,000, 10,000 impressions, and then all of a sudden Monday morning you post something and 15 people have seen it, and you're like, what the
you're
heck
like,
just
where did I
happened
go
here?
wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, a good example of that is that Everlane sold to Shein on
Yeah.
I think it was like on Sunday, broke the news.
Yeah.
And this is something almost like lackluster, but I put out a quick post where I knew that it would get picked up by the algorithm, right? And it got picked up by the LinkedIn news. It was featured in the LinkedIn news section, but it only got 10 likes. But it got 3,000 impressions, but only got 10 likes. So it's like,
Yeah.
where does that kind of come in? Like, what does that mean for me? And I think that like people need to find that sweet spot, right? Of playing to the algorithm and also playing to your own personal voice.
Maybe they didn't
Yeah.
like the news.
Yeah.
Want to thumbs down on this.
It is
Whereas
crazy
maybe
news.
that's what it was. Yeah, that was big. That was big.
We heard that so much at the event we were at. Gosh, 2 days of people just saying, I'm over LinkedIn. I'm over the AI generated content. I'm over, the rubbish. I'm going to steal Chris's word, rubbish that is out there. I want to see something real. I want to, even if it's, like be smarter or something. I'd love for you to expand on that because you're putting realness out there. And while you're smart enough to think and learn how the algorithm works with it, it feels very much like Lena when we consume it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah. And, with that, I think that it's all about finding that balance in this algorithm based world where it's like, where do we fit in with personal voices? And that's where I like actually just wrote about the Pinterest campaign where they encouraged everyone to go offline. So they did an activation at Coachella that paired with their big release of a new creative campaign encouraging people to go all offline because with that, some of the best creativity is inspired, right? From going unplugged, from being fully unplugged and getting out there. So I think that like we're living in this day and age where we're constantly getting digital noise, follow, like, email, subscribe, another email. Did you miss my email? And with that, if you're not giving something to the people that you're serving, you're not going to get anything in return, nor do you deserve something in return. Right. And I actually stand by that. And like, if this newsletter, Be Smart something, if it starts to suck, like I want people to respond by saying it sucks because it's like, I want to serve the community and continue the conversation. Or if someone thinks I'm wrong, I think that they should say, I don't agree with this. You're wrong, because it's all about the conversation being sparked and starting that circulation of this doesn't really resonate with me, or this actually really resonates with me, or like, did you hear about this other thing that this brand is doing? And that's why I also love Substack as a big channel. I'm big on LinkedIn. I tried to launch Be Smart something on Substack. I'm getting there. I think that Substack requires a lot of work, a lot of admin that I'm not really ready to quite give yet. But with that, I really love the Substacks that are going out there that are really embracing these personal voices within their own brandscape. And that's where you see like Emily Sundberg has Feed Me, which is so great. Casey Lewis has this one. It's all about like Gen Z influence and such, like young people consumers. And it's so interesting to see the breakdowns, not just in a quantitative way, but in a qualitative way, because that's so big right now with how does this make me feel? How does this make you feel? And how can we continue making you feel something so that you trust us more to check out, to end up clicking that checkout button, right? It all kind of goes back to that. So,
Lena, you mentioned Unplugged. So I was at a licensing show once, and at the licensing shows, like a Disney, Marvel, like all these companies will
okay.
feature new toys or new films. And I remember going to the Disney one, and this is when they were launching Mandalorian and Disney Plus, and they take your phone, they put it in a pouch, and they put it in like this
Mm.
locker slash bookshelf, and you get your number, and you sit there and you listen, and you're not allowed releasing any of that stuff. And I feel like one day all of us are going to co-host this event together. Maybe CommerceNext meets Commerce Rewired. But wouldn't that be something if you get into that door, and might not have to be whole day, but one session, it like give us your phone and
Yeah, or they
you
do the
park it.
stickers now, almost make it like the clubs, like bird.
Yeah, you can.
In the clubs they started doing that now too, where it's like, okay,
With
everyone gets a
Meta, with the
sticker for their
glasses.
camera.
Yeah, and the glasses too. They started doing with the glasses
Wow.
or taking away glasses. At clubs, yeah. In Vegas they do it. But wouldn't
What
that
would
be
I do?
something we talk about unplugging for 1 hour is like you're gonna listen to the session, you're gonna talk to the people here, and then you get your phone back in an hour. I would absolutely love it. I would
Yeah, that's a
absolutely
really
love it.
great. Or even, you're gonna go into these round tables and we're all gonna be completely
Yeah.
offline in that. And I love that. I think that there's a lot of
Mhm.
potential within that.
Yeah.
There's
We were
definitely
talking
a
about that
trend. Johnny, did you mention Johnny, someone else speaking earlier at a campus? And I don't know if you saw the viral speech from Eric Church. He's a country singer, and he was at his university or college, and he was speaking, and he used a guitar, and each string said, "Okay, this is about your faith. This is about your relationships. This is," and as he was going through each string, he was talking about what they meant to people and how a guitar is a representation of life and how you're balanced. It was unbelievable. You guys should check it out if you haven't seen it, Eric Church. But he also talks about being unplugged and connecting with people, like real connections. Anyways, it was so inspiring. But I think there is a big trend about um, to your idea of being unplugged for an hour. I think more and more people are going to like, I don't care about the pressure of social anymore. I don't care about how many likes I have or how many followers I have. If the followers aren't engaging with you, who cares what that stat is?
Yeah.
Yeah. We spoke about that at our event, like the industry night. When you are bored, you kind of tend to look at your phone quite often. And
Mm-hmm.
at a conference that happens quite often, right? It's you're busy but you're bored as well. And when we had that executive industry night, like the time flew and
Mm-hmm.
no one was on their phone. And if they
No.
were, it was a picture. And I've been at those places, like you're there and you're not checking your phone. That's when you are so engaged. And that's when the best things happen. So we
Agree.
got to get to a place like that.
Completely agree. Maybe we'll have to host a little bit of a phoneless party or something like that, right?
Love
In
that.
Toronto. We'll have fun. That sounds like a great time. Because we can make like a silent disco too. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a last question, but do you guys have any others? Dave, Chris, Tara?
Yeah. I'm so interested now in planning this kind of collaboration of no phone event. That's where my mind's going.
Yeah.
I'm not bored. I don't have my phone in my hand. I'm now thinking, what does this look like? Because it could be fantastic.
It could be.
Yeah,
I
we'll
love it.
do it. So you've moved now to North Carolina. You've been in the event space for quite a long time. How would you characterize yourself, like in terms of your career? Are you an event marketer or digital marketer? And then on top of that, like what inspires you? Like you have such a great positive outlook on life and work. So the two questions are like, how do you define yourself? And then what inspires you to be that way?
That's a fun question. Thanks, Johnny. I've thought a lot about this, especially in my coming of age in my career. And I think that I define myself as a passionate marketing professional with a beautiful niche in events. And I love events. Like I found this niche and I've dove headfirst into it. I think that something about the ability to bring people together in a way that is so unfiltered. And I love people as a whole. And I think that forming these unique communities of people who all bring their own unique perceptions to things and their opinions and their thought processes all in this one beautiful jumbled mix is so valuable because it really allows people to that you wouldn't maybe normally meet in everyday life to be in one place at one time and have all of these thoughts kind of come to the surface and bloom into something that is very beautiful. So I think that that is really how I define myself right now is like I just am hungry to keep learning. And what inspires me is, besides my mom, who Chris and David were lucky enough to meet at Etel Palm Springs, but what really inspires me is I want to be a CMO one day. Right? I consider myself a businesswoman. I love mentoring. I love inspiring. I love talking about business. And I think that with that, just being as completely interconnected as possible is my ultimate goal because I love the people and business intersection. And that is really conferences, right? And with that, I think like exploring all of the possible tech at our fingertips is just what inspires me to keep going and that want to be a CMO one day, right? So marketing director now, CMO one day. So we'll see. But that's the goal here. And I think that there's so much to be learned from these beautiful communities. And that's why I'm glad to be connected with this group right here. Right.
Yeah. Well, say on behalf of the team, you got 4 huge fans here.
Yeah.
And we're always pulling for you and supporting you. So thanks for being on episode 27 of the
Big
Commerce Rewired
27.
podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors, Cattle and Kid and Ace, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much, Lena. Been a pleasure.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
Lena.
Hey, Lena.
Thanks, Lena.